Have you ever looked in the mirror and immediately found something to criticize? Like before your coffee, before your day even starts, your brain is already pointing out flaws, picking you apart piece by piece, without you even asking it to.
Oh, 100%. And it's wild because we would never talk to a friend the way we talk to ourselves in our own heads. Not even close. We'd never be that harsh with someone we actually love. Not in a million years.
That is exactly where I want to start today. We're diving into a topic that sounds simple, but is honestly one of the hardest things humans ever do. Learning to love yourself from the inside out, not just on the surface.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people hear that phrase and roll their eyes a little. It sounds a bit cheesy, doesn't it? Like a poster on a teenager's bedroom wall, full of cliches and unrealistic promises that nobody really believes.
Right? Love yourself can feel like a bumper sticker at first, but when you actually break it down and look at it honestly, it's not cheesy at all. It's a skill almost, something you practice every single day of your life.
So what got you thinking about this topic recently? Because I know it's something you've been chewing on for a while, and I want to hear what sparked this whole conversation in the first place, for you personally.
Honestly, a friend of mine said something offhand a few months ago, and it really stuck with me. She said, "I just want to be on my own side." And I thought, wow, that phrase alone is huge, life-changing even.
I love that phrasing, on your own side. Can we just sit with that for a second? Because so many of us are not even on our own side. We're kind of against ourselves in a subtle but powerful way every single day.
Exactly. We treat strangers on the internet more gently than we treat ourselves. And that kind of self-criticism, the constant inner chatter telling you you're not enough, it really adds up over time, doesn't it? It wears you down.
It does. There's actually a name for that voice. Some people call it the inner critic. You know, that little narrator in your head that points out every flaw and replays every awkward moment from 10 years ago on repeat.
10 years ago specifically. Why does it always pick the most embarrassing memory possible? Like it has thousands of memories to choose from, and it picks the worst one every single time, every single day, like clockwork.
Right? Like of all the things to bring up, it's the time you waved back at someone who wasn't waving at you. Why, brain? Why? That memory doesn't even deserve that much attention from us, honestly.
Okay, so let's get practical here, because the advice out there is kind of vague, right? Just love yourself. Be kind to yourself. What does that even mean on a Tuesday morning when you spill coffee all over your white shirt?
Yes, the advice sounds great in a self-help book, but in real life, you need actual tools you can use. And I think one of the first tools is simply noticing the inner critic when it shows up in your thoughts.
Right. You don't have to fight it. You don't have to argue with it. You just have to see it clearly. Awareness first, always, before anything else can really happen in your healing process.
I like that, because once you notice that voice, you realize, oh, that's just a habit. It's not the truth about who you are. It's just a pattern my brain has gotten used to running in the background, on autopilot.
Exactly. And here's the thing. A lot of people confuse self-love with arrogance. They think loving yourself means thinking you're better than everyone else. And that's just not it at all. Not even close to it.
No, not at all. In psychology, they make a clear distinction. Self-esteem is how you evaluate yourself, but self-compassion is how you treat yourself when you suffer. It's about warmth, not superiority. Big difference.
Ooh, that's a great distinction. Can we slow that down for a second for the listeners? Self-esteem versus self-compassion. They sound similar, but they're really different in practice and in how they affect your daily life.
Yeah. Self-esteem is more about your performance, how successful you feel, how good you are at things. Self-compassion is more about your humanity, being gentle with yourself in tough moments, no matter how you performed that day.
I think a lot of high achievers struggle with that distinction. They look great on paper, great job, great life, but inside they're constantly feeling like a fraud. That word imposter syndrome, it comes up a lot in those circles.
Oh, imposter syndrome. Yeah. It's this feeling that you're not actually as competent as people think you are, and soon everyone will figure out you're a fraud, even though there's usually zero evidence for that feeling at all, honestly.
Right. And I think a lot of that comes from measuring yourself against some impossible standard. You only see other people's highlight reels, never their bloopers, never their outtakes, never the messy middle part.
Nice. And we all have blooper reels, trust me on this. Some of my bloopers are legendary. My blooper reel could honestly be a feature film at this point in my life. No exaggeration.
Okay, so let's talk about a practice now. Awareness is the first step, but what comes next? What do you actually do with that awareness once you have it in your hands and you're ready to use it for real?
So one thing that really helps is what psychologists call self-talk. Just paying attention to the words you use with yourself, especially in difficult or stressful moments, when the inner critic tends to get louder and louder, almost shouting at you over the other thoughts in your head.
Like if a friend came to you and said, "I bombed that presentation," would you say, "Yeah, you totally did. You always mess up. You're such a complete failure at everything you try"?
No, I'd say, hey, one presentation doesn't define you. You tried, and that's what matters. So why not offer that same kindness to yourself? The phrase therapists often use is, treat yourself like you would treat a good friend.
Exactly. And I'd add, sometimes that means talking back to the inner critic, literally answering it out loud in your own voice. Like if it says, "You're so lazy," you can respond with, "Actually, I worked really hard today, and I also need rest, and that's okay."
I love that. It sounds a little silly at first, but it really works. You're basically rewriting the script your brain has been running on repeat for years. And that takes time, but it absolutely pays off in the end.
Exactly. And another thing that really helps is journaling. I'm a big fan of journaling, especially something like a gratitude journal, but with a twist that I think most people miss entirely when they start this practice.
Ooh, what's the twist? Is it instead of just listing what you're grateful for in the world around you, you list what you're grateful for about yourself? Because that would be a really interesting and useful shift in focus, I think.
Yes, exactly that. Like, what did you do well today? What did you handle with grace and dignity? Even small things count. I made a healthy lunch today, or I held the door for someone, or I set a boundary with a coworker at work.
Yeah, because we're so trained to focus on the negative, what we didn't do, that we completely ignore the wins. And there are wins every single day, big and small. They're just quiet, easy to miss if you're not looking for them.
Quiet wins. I like that phrase. That's a good one. Let's keep that for the rest of the episode and beyond, because I think a lot of people need to hear that and apply it to their own lives.
Okay, but I want to be honest about something. Self-compassion doesn't come naturally to everyone. Some people grow up in environments where being hard on themselves was the norm, where love felt conditional, like it had to be earned somehow.
Yeah, that's real. And for those people, self-love can feel genuinely unsafe. Like if you start being kind to yourself, something bad will happen, or you'll become complacent and lazy and lose all motivation in life.
There's this myth that being kind to yourself makes you weak, but research actually shows the opposite. People who practice self-compassion are more motivated, not less, and they bounce back faster from setbacks in life, in every area. That's something I wish more people understood, because that myth keeps so many of us stuck.
Right, because shame and harshness don't motivate you in the long run. They just burn you out completely, emotionally and physically. It's like trying to drive a car with the parking brake on, you know what I mean?
That parking brake analogy is perfect. I've felt that feeling of pushing and wondering why nothing is moving forward, no matter how hard I try or how much effort I put in, day after day.
And then you blame yourself for not pushing hard enough, which is just the inner critic again, on a loop. It really never stops, does it? It's like a song on repeat that you never asked to hear in the first place, but you can't seem to find the off button.
It's exhausting, honestly. And sometimes when people first start practicing self-compassion, it feels completely fake. Like you're saying kind things to yourself, but you don't believe them at all, not even a little bit, not at first. And that's totally normal, by the way. Give it time.
Yes, totally normal. You're basically rewiring a brain that's been wired a certain way for decades, and that takes time and patience. You're not going to undo 20 years of negative self-talk in just 1 week. Be realistic.
So a tip for anyone listening, start small. Don't try to suddenly become this person who loves everything about themselves overnight.
Just notice the inner critic this week. Don't fight it. Just notice it when it shows up. That's all.
I love that. Don't fight it, just notice. That applies to so many things in life, by the way. Meditation is a lot like that. You're just observing your thoughts, like clouds passing by in the sky above you.
That's a beautiful image, really. And it takes the pressure off, doesn't it? You don't have to be perfect at it. You just have to keep showing up for yourself, day after day, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard.
Okay, another word that gets thrown around a lot, boundaries. Because loving yourself often means setting boundaries, saying no, protecting your time and energy from things that drain you on a regular basis.
Yes, and I think people misunderstand boundaries. They think it's about pushing people away or being selfish. But really, boundaries are about teaching people how to treat you, kindly and with respect, every single time. It's not about being cold. It's about being clear about what you need in order to show up fully for the people you love.
Self-respect in action. I like that phrase. And a lot of people, especially people pleasers, struggle with this. They say yes to everything, then they resent everyone. Then they feel guilty for feeling resentful at all. It's exhausting.
Yeah, the people-pleasing cycle. I've been there, and it's brutal, honestly. The only way out is to start being honest about what you actually want, even if it disappoints someone you care about deeply.
And that's hard because we often associate saying no with being a bad person. But every time you say yes to something you don't want, you're saying no to something you do want. You're saying no to yourself over and over again. And that adds up.
Wow, that's powerful. Every time you say yes to something you don't want, you're saying no to something you do want. That could honestly be a poster, the good kind, not the cheesy kind that nobody actually reads or remembers the next day.
The good kind, yes. Okay, another thing. A lot of people compare themselves to others, and social media makes that so much worse than it used to be in the past, before smartphones took over our lives.
Oh, social media. The highlight reel on steroids. That's what I call it. You're scrolling through and everyone's at a yoga retreat in Bali or they just got promoted and you're sitting there in sweatpants feeling like a total failure at life. The algorithm is designed to make you feel like that, by the way, even if no one at the company intended it that way.
Yes, the sweatpants part is so painfully real. And those people you see online are also looking at your posts and feeling the exact same way. We're all doing it to each other constantly without even realizing it.
There's a phenomenon called compare and despair. Not a clinical term, but it captures the feeling perfectly. You scroll, you compare, and you despair. It's a vicious, exhausting cycle that nobody wins, ever.
Yeah, and the deeper fix is internal, not external. It's about building a sense of self that doesn't depend on other people's approval or external validation from anyone, ever, no matter what they say or do.
That word validation is so important. Some people are essentially addicted to other people's approval. They make decisions based on what will get them likes, and they lose themselves completely in the process of pleasing others.
And this is where the word authenticity comes in. Living in a way that's true to who you actually are, not who you think you're supposed to be, which is a moving target anyway, as society changes over time.
Yeah, especially when who you're supposed to be keeps changing. Society keeps changing the rules. Be ambitious, but also chill. Be confident, but not too confident. Be yourself, but the right kind of self.
Be yourself, but the right kind of self. That's a great line. It really is a balancing act, isn't it? But I think the foundation is knowing yourself, asking yourself hard questions. What do I actually value most in life?
And that requires quiet, real quiet, not just the absence of noise. Most of us are constantly distracted, constantly consuming content, and we never give ourselves space to just hear our own thoughts clearly and make sense of them.
Right. So a practice could be take 10 minutes a day, no phone, no music, no podcast, just you and your thoughts. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but it's like training a muscle that has been forgotten for years.
I do that sometimes in the morning, before the chaos of the day starts, and it's made a big difference. The thoughts that come up are often surprising, things I didn't even realize I was carrying around inside me for years.
Yeah, that word carrying, it's heavy, isn't it? We're all carrying things, old wounds, old criticisms, old stories about who we are. And sometimes just naming them out loud can take away their power over you completely. It really does. It's almost magical when you experience it.
The pen is mightier than the sword, as they say. Or in this case, the pen is mightier than the inner critic. And that's honestly such a useful reframe for anyone who writes or journals aurally, for any reason at all. Even just 5 minutes a day can shift things in ways you wouldn't expect.
I love that. Okay, one more thing before we get into the wrap-up. Forgiveness. Forgiving yourself. Because for a lot of people, that's the hardest kind of forgiveness there is. Harder than forgiving others, even people who've hurt you deeply.
Yeah, holding a grudge against yourself doesn't punish the other person. It just poisons you slowly from the inside out. Self-forgiveness is about saying, I made a mistake, and I'm still worthy of love anyway, no matter what.
And that word still is so important here, in this context. I'm still worthy. Not I will be worthy when I fix everything. Worthy right now, in this moment, as you are. That's a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people.
Very tough, yeah. Most of us are waiting until we lose the weight, waiting until we get the job, waiting until we're better to finally accept ourselves. And that day never comes, no matter how long you wait, sadly.
Right. The finish line keeps moving, no matter how fast you run toward it. And I think the real shift is realizing that self-love isn't a destination. It's a daily practice, like brushing your teeth or eating breakfast every morning.
That's also a good lesson for English learners, by the way. Any skill you practice, you're going to have good days and bad days. You don't give up. You just keep going. One day at a time, one word at a time, one lesson at a time.
Ooh, I like that little learning moment. Yeah, languages, self-love, exercise, all the same idea, really. Progress isn't linear. Linear meaning it doesn't go in a straight line, which can be really frustrating sometimes when you don't see the results.
Exactly. And I want to leave listeners with one simple thought. If you take nothing else from this conversation, take this. You are enough right now. Not someday, not after the next achievement. Right now, as you are, in this moment.
Yeah, you are enough. And I think if more people repeated that to themselves in the mirror every morning, with kindness, not as a command, but as a gentle truth, the world would be a very different place to live in, for everyone.
Amen to that. I went to church for a second there, but I really do mean it from the bottom of my heart. It's such a powerful reframe if you let it sink in slowly, day by day, week by week, month by month. And I know it might sound small, but small things, repeated often, change everything over time.
I felt that energy. Okay, so to wrap things up, let's do a little recap. We talked about the inner critic, self-compassion versus self-esteem, journaling, boundaries, and saying no without guilt or shame attached to it.
And not waiting to love yourself until some perfect moment in the future. The small daily practices, the quiet moments, the awareness, none of it is dramatic, but all of it matters. Every single piece of it, no matter how small it feels.
Exactly. It's not about one big moment of transformation that changes everything overnight. It's about the small, almost invisible choices you make every day. To be a little kinder to yourself, to notice, to forgive, to breathe, to rest.
Beautifully said. And one more thing. You don't have to do this alone, ever. If you're really struggling with self-criticism or self-worth, talking to a therapist is not a weakness. It's one of the bravest things you can do for yourself.
I completely agree. Asking for help is a form of self-love. There's no shame in reaching out to someone. In fact, it's a sign of real strength, not weakness at all, no matter what the stigma in society might say about it.
So if something in this episode resonated with you, don't just nod along and forget about it tomorrow. Take one small action this week. Maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's setting one boundary. Maybe it's just noticing the inner critic. Just one thing. That's it. Small steps, but they really do add up over time. I promise.
Yeah, one thing. That's a great way to end. And remember, learning to love yourself is a journey, not a race. Be patient with yourself, especially on the days when it's hard to be patient at all, with anything or anyone.
Especially on those days, right? And honestly, listeners, thank you so much for spending this time with us today. We really don't take it for granted, not even a little bit. And we appreciate every single one of you listening.
No, we really don't take it for granted at all. Conversations like this matter, and I'm so glad we got to have it with you. Until next time, be kind to yourself, and I'll see you soon, hopefully with another good topic to discuss together.
Take care, everyone. And remember, you are enough, exactly as you are, in this very moment, right now. Both laugh. We're not going anywhere. We'll be right here next time. Same place, same time, same energy. Ready to keep going.
Okay, that was a good one. I almost teared up a little, not gonna lie at all. There's something about saying it out loud that makes it feel more real, you know what I mean? It really does hit different.
Yeah, totally. And honestly, before we go for real, I want to bring up one more thing that's been on my mind. The people around you, your environment, your circle. They shape how you see yourself more than you might realize.
That's such a beautiful point to end on, really. We're the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with, as they say. So choose your circle carefully, the way you choose anything precious in your life, with intention and care.
Beautifully said. And one last reminder, you are enough, exactly as you are, right now, today, and always, no matter what life throws at you. Both laugh. Thanks so much for listening, friends. We really mean that. Until next time, take care of yourselves, keep practicing, and we'll see you soon.